Trying new things and franchises from outside requests can really pay off, whether it's just a friend recommending a game to you or one of you guys putting in a review request. They can lead you into a series or franchise that you absolutely fall in love with that you might never have experienced otherwise. That's been me the past couple weeks with the Steins series. After I caught myself up on the franchise once I got a request to review Steins My Darling's Embrace, I really started loving the franchise and decided to do more coverage. A remake of the original PS3 and PS Vita visual novel in preparation for the recently announced Steins Gate Zero remake, here is my review of Steins Gate Elite for the Nintendo Switch. Steins Gate is a story about time travel. Rintaro Okabe is a self-proclaimed mad scientist obsessed with quote-unquote, the organization that is constantly watching him. When this self-proclaimed mad scientist has a fateful encounter with neuroscience genius Enmakise Kurisu and accidentally discovers a way to send emails to the past, he attracts friends to his lab to experiment with their makeshift time machine along with looking into the hidden history behind time travel research. The story of Steins Gate is very well written and there's really a lot to love. Whether it's the main plot and all the science behind the time travel machine, how well each character is fleshed out in their story arcs, or just the variety and balance between serious, comedic, and emotional events, Steins Gate is just overall a very well written story. When it comes to gameplay, this is an animated visual novel. As you play through the game, you'll be navigating through animated story scenes along with making choices in the form of cell phone responses to get onto certain routes and manipulate where the story goes. First and foremost, this is a remake of the original Steins Gate visual novel that came out for the PS3 and PS Vita. It's mostly the same game as far as content is concerned, but comes with one major change: animation. The entire game is animated and looks like you're actually watching an anime instead of playing a visual novel. They did this through footage from the actual Steins Gate anime adaptation along with new animated scenes for everything that was in the original visual novel that didn't make it into the series. The whole marketing campaign for the game and even the back of the box art says, "Play the anime." And that really rings true. As I was playing through the game and had it on autoplay during the longer scenes, there were times where I thought I was just watching an anime and kinda forgot that I was playing a game until one of the prompts for the cell phone came back up. And honestly, I really like this melding between the borders of a visual novel and an animated series. It just makes you wonder, what if the Clannad visual novel was remade with the footage from the anime? How would that game look fully animated instead of just static characters on the screen? But let's not get off on a tangent here. Elite also comes with a bonus game, and that bonus is different depending on what system you buy it for. On PS4, Elite comes with a port of Steins Gate Linear Bounded Phenogram, a spin-off visual novel, whereas on the Switch we get an 8-bit game called 8-bit Steins Gate Adventure that lets you walk around Akiba as Okabe in an alternate Steins Gate storyline. Much like how Spike Chunsoft also released an 8-bit game for the Yuno visual novel when it came out. Now let's talk game progression. Since this is a visual novel, most of how you go about it is the same as others, with going through story scenes, watching the story play out, and manipulating the text through auto and skip options. The main difference being the phone trigger system. This has your phone pop up occasionally getting messages from the other characters and having different choices of how you can respond. These responses help you get on certain routes if answered a certain way, just like in the spin-off game My Darling's Embrace. You've also got more crucial scenes where the choice is thrown right in your face in the middle of the story, but most of the manipulations you'll be doing for the endgame will be through the cell phone. And speaking of endings, let's dive into content and length. Despite there not really being any extra content outside of the new animated stuff that wasn't in the series, Steins Gate is still a lengthy visual novel with lots of content. Across my trek through the game, I went for 2 of the side characters' endings and 1 of the main endings, and it took me almost 30 hours to get there. If I wanted to go back and do the proper responses for the true ending, it would probably be more closer to 32 to 35 hours. Now let's dive into presentation, which technically I've already talked about. Visually, the game is a very controversial treat. As I mentioned in my Steins Gate My Darling's Embrace review, the change from the original art style to the anime style disappointed a lot of longtime fans. But I find something really magical about having a visual novel animated like this. Normally, an anime adaptation would have a ton of stuff taken out, especially a visual novel being adapted. But this game is like having an anime series without anything cut out of it. The only thing I'll say about performance is a very strange hanging bug that happened to me maybe 3 or 4 times across the entire game. While I was on autoplay, I would occasionally get to a point where the game would get stuck moving from one line of dialogue to the next. It would just kind of hang there for a little while. The game doesn't crash and it doesn't keep you from going into the menu, so you can easily just do a hard save and load that save to fix the problem. So it's not like it's game breaking, and it doesn't happen very often because I only had it happen 3 or 4 times in 30 hours. And now let's dive into battery life. On the original model, Steins Gate Elite has a battery range of 3 hours and 30 minutes up to 4 hours and 9 minutes. On the Nintendo Switch Lite, it has a range of 3 hours and 45 minutes up to 4 hours and 18 minutes. And on the V2 or 2019 Redbox model, it has a range of 5 hours and 58 minutes up to 8 hours and 52 minutes. In conclusion, Steins Gate Elite is a well-written game that melds the line between visual novels and animated series. Now on the downside, the game has an odd hanging bug that happens every so often during autoplay, but it's an otherwise great and emotional story that any fan of time travel and anime should definitely experience. Reviews to go rate Steins Gate Elite for the Nintendo Switch a 9.5 out of 10. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. Thanks for watching and have a great day.